How far would you go for money? What would you do for a life-changing amount of money? Or maybe a better question is, what wouldn't you do? A lot of books, TV shows, and movies try to illustrate this concept. I think my favorite depiction is some form of authority basically asks you to do a very minor task and you get really well compensated for it. But as time goes on, the tasks become more complex, more outrageous, more dangerous. A large sum of money being the main drive for every single character in a story is nothing new. In movies like Don't Breathe, they try to rob an old man because they know that he has a large amount of money. No Country for Old Men also follows the premise of characters trying to protect the money and characters trying to find the money. But that's not the type of story I want to talk about today. I'd like to talk about the Squid Game type of story setup, with characters who are often down on their luck, voluntarily enter a game and are given specific tasks to accomplish with an increasing amount of risk, danger, and money. In the movie 13 Sins, the very first challenge is to swat a fly that's in the car with him. And then boom, he gets $1,000. Imagine being paid $1,000 to swat a fly. Man, I would eat that fly, which is directly the next thing they ask him to do. In a movie like Nerve, it's actually a game, a popular game that a lot of people are playing, and everyone basically starts with those smaller challenges, still riskier than the typical swat a fly.
Kiss a stranger for 5 seconds?
But in Nerve, we actually have this extra element of peer pressure. A lot of people are playing the game and a lot of people are encouraging you to play the game. So it takes our question of how far would you go for money to how far would you go for money if other people were involved and watching and encouraging you, which is pretty interesting, even though personally I don't think it was an amazing movie, but I like the concept. You know, she kisses Dave Franco as the stranger, and then she gets the next challenge that is, you know, for $200, go with him to the city. And those are, you know, fairly innocent challenges. Although yes, showing up and kissing a random stranger is sexual assault by definition. But hey, it's a woman and it's Emma Roberts, so the movie passes it as cute. No, but in the movie, he was another player, so it's cool. He ended up being cool with it afterwards. But still, would you kiss a random stranger for $100? I wouldn't. Like, look at me, I'm risking life in prison here. But yeah, and by the way, the reason why I'm not including Squid Game in this whole thing is because I don't want to talk about TV shows, not in this video at least. But also I feel like in Squid Game, the hardest part was to convince them to get to the island. Once they were in the island, they were trapped and there was no going back. The very first game is deadly. There's nothing really increasing except the very nature of battle royale. Basically, there's less people and you get familiar with the characters and then more important people are dying basically. It reminds me of Would You Rather. She goes to this rich person's party voluntarily, of course, but once she's there, she cannot leave at any point and she is forced to play those games. And I don't really remember, but I believe that each game don't necessarily carry a cash prize. It's just that whoever survives, again, battle royale style, will get all of the money. Oh yeah, and Sasha Grey was in that. Yeah, that's Sasha Grey. So this is not the premise that I'm talking about, even though anything that is closed off and people are forced to do stuff inside of it, I like that category too, but that's not what we're talking about here. I'm pretty sure there was like a Nicolas Cage movie that was like that. I don't remember if there was a cash prize, but there was definitely something with a secret society that basically asks you to do a couple of favors and gradually gets more dangerous. I found it. It's called Seeking Justice. I have no memories of this movie. I don't remember how it starts. Oh yeah, I remember now. So basically, I think they tried to rob his wife and they put her in the hospital and he was quote unquote seeking justice. So this guy approaches him and is like, oh, we can take care of him. We can basically, you know, kind of wink, wink, kill the guy and it wouldn't cost you anything, but we may ask you for a couple of favors in the future. And that's how he gets ingrained into this. So there's no cash prize or anything, but it's this large organization that has everyone under wraps. Even the cops are in on it, just doing things all around the city. And I think they pretty quickly ask him to kill a guy. And a large part of the movie is basically him trying to either go to the cops and snitch or get the courage to actually kill that guy that they want him to kill. I need to rewatch it, but I remember really enjoying this movie actually. Guy Pearce is great. So yeah, not necessarily the whole money premise, but definitely has the increasingly dangerous task and also an extra of like big secret society. Everyone's in on it. So a lot of suspense in this movie, which is pretty nice. Definitely not Nicolas Cage's best performance, but whatever. So surprisingly, doing a little bit of research to see like if I can jog my memory, there aren't many movies like that, like what I'm describing. There aren't a lot. 13 Sins is like number 1 suggested. Nerve is gonna be number 2 suggested, but the main reason why I wanted to make this video in the first place is because of a movie called Cheap Thrills, and not a lot of people know about it. Cheap Thrills is a movie about a guy down on his luck, has a wife, a kid, and another one on the way, loses his job, gets like a notice for eviction and all that stuff, and ends up at a bar and meets this old guy from college or whatever. And while they're there, they notice some guy, you know, seem to have like a bunch of money and is like spending a lot of money, and he's with his wife or girlfriend, and they end up joining them, right? And at some point, the guy's like, hey, you know what, $100 if you take a shot, right? So this is how it starts. Very, very, very simple and very easy task. And then it goes, hey, go slap this stripper's ass. They're calling it a black comedy, but honestly, this movie is so intense. There's a lot of people that watch, like I've shown this movie to people that were not laughing at all. For example, here they go to the strip club, and he's like, hey, if you hit the security guard, $500 or $1,000 or something like that. They end up going to the guy's place. He ends up telling them, hey, it's my wife's birthday and we're just, you know, trying to have fun. Shows them a shit ton of money and is like, hey, all of this money is for you. All you have to do is just play the game, right? I'm gonna give you more challenges and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, piss on this guy's boots and blah, blah, blah. And the whole thing is that the movie is not just about what would you do for money. It's also about ego. It's also about being competitive. It's also about masculinity in general. This idea of really wanting to provide. This other guy that he knew from college is kind of was pretty much always a jock, and he was kind of a nerd. And now he has a wife, he has kids, he feels like he has a lot to live for, and he feels like the other guy doesn't, because he ends up being some sort of brute for like the local mob or so for some gangster. He's an enforcer basically. So there's this whole thing of pinning them together. At some point it does get a little sexual. It's a wild ride. I love this movie because of all of the mind games that are being played, because they're not just pinning them together with the money. They are also using, you know, basic toxic masculinity psychology against them. The fact that this guy is the nerd and the other one is the jock, so they kind of like really play with their strengths and weaknesses to really rile them up and put them on edge. So we end up having this wonderful, and by wonderful I do mean absolutely awful, character arc for both of them actually. So the moral could be that money revealed who they really were, or instead that the money changed them completely. It's weird, it gets loud, it's hard to watch sometimes. Some of those scenes are very difficult to look at, but there is one piece of dialogue that I love so much, and I really wish I could show you. I don't think YouTube's gonna like it. I'm gonna put it, if the next segment cuts out, that means that YouTube doesn't want me to put it. If I get like a copyright, a content ID or something like that, I'm gonna remove it. But even though I really want you to watch this movie, it's kind of towards the end, so spoiler alert. Yeah, it's basically after they've done a lot of the challenges, and the nerd guy basically pretty much is missing a finger. He ended up cheating on his wife with the rich guy's wife. And at this point, the two friends are absolute enemies. And they end up having this one conversation.
You're a real piece of shit, you know that?
Yeah. At least I didn't steal $25,000 from my friend.
I need that money for my family. You just blow it on hookers and drugs. I know you.
Yeah, I know you too, Craig.
I'm not that person anymore. I have responsibilities. I have a life to live. You don't have shit to do but waste the world's oxygen. You're a fucking loser. You know that, Vince?
No, yeah, I do. I know I'm a loser. See, I've always known that. But you really surprised me, Craig. See, because you had parents that loved you. And they took care of you. They sent you to college, got you an education. But look how you fucking turned out. You obviously didn't make it as a writer. I mean, hell, you can't even keep a job changing oil at a fucking car shop. You had to fuck another woman and mutilate yourself just to keep your family off the street. So who's the bigger loser? Huh?
Oh, you guys are still here.
It's so good. Even though the whole story is pretty deep, a lot of things in the movie are pretty surface level, right? We see things, we're shocked, cheap thrills, right? But this is one of the rare, serious conversations that they actually have in the movie, and it really shows the depth of their character, of what they really think. This is the part where they don't care anymore. There's no filters, no mask. This one guy thinks that the other one is a loser, and the other guy goes, and yet here you are, sitting right across of me, having done way more messed up things for money than I did. And you're calling me the loser? And I love little moments like that in the where the movie basically pauses and reminds you, hey, this is deep. Anyways, I am not going to spoil the very end. There's still more stuff that's going to happen after this scene. I absolutely urge you to go watch this movie or find it somewhere. It's called Cheap Thrills. I don't even think it's on streaming anywhere. I also urge you to watch 13 Sins and also Nerve. Wait a second, I have some research to do before I actually recommend those. I legit went and looked up the directors of those movies just to make sure, you know, I'm not doing the Jeepers Creepers mistake again. If you don't know, I made a video praising Jeepers Creepers and then learn about like the horrible things that the director did. So I'm trying to be a little bit more mindful with movies that I recommend. So I would recommend you watch them in that order. I would say start with Nerve, because it's kind of like, I don't know, teenager version of this premise. And then do 13 Sins. It's more actiony, there's guns involved, there's car chases and all that. And then finally do Cheap Thrills, which is more closed off, just a couple of actors, same characters throughout, and you really get to know them as, you know, they evolve through this increasingly intense night. If you can think of any movies that would actually fit in that category, let me know about them in the comment section below. I would love to watch them. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.